Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It's so great to see everybody. Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. And today we're going to talk a little bit about a guy named Donald Trump. Donald Trump kind of infuriated some people when it was revealed this week that he pays, uh, sometimes he pays less taxes than a homeless person. So I'm going to talk about some of the outrage over Donald Trump's tax returns, how people should or maybe might want to feel about it, and also, how he paid such little in taxes. And we're going to break all this down for you. So get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I am your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black wealth and Black economics every single day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day. And our condition is that we are Black first. Black first means we put our community at the top of our priority list. Black first does not mean you have to be Black to be here. It just means that we are solely focused on closing the racial wealth gap. If we don't put all of our energy and pour everything that we have into our own people, then who's going to do it? If we don't do it, then who's going to do it? I asked y'all that question on this New Year's Day. If we don't do it, who will? I need y'all to somebody tell me. If we don't do it, is the white man going to do it? If we don't do it, are Asian people going to do it? If we don't do it, are Mexicans going to come along and save the Black community? So somebody answer that question for me in the chat. Hisham out of Compton. It's good to see everybody. Happy New Year to you. Also, shout out the city that you're from. Shout out the city that you're from. And as I dig into our topic, which is actually Donald Trump's tax returns, a lot of thoughts are just kind of coming through my mind. First off, I'm going to say this. I woke up a little bit sad today because, as you know, I got my PhD at The Ohio State University. And I'm not going to lie, when it comes to college football, I cheer a lot for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I really thought we were going to pull it off against Georgia. They were playing so well. And then things kind of fell apart and it kind of made me sad. So I was a little mad about that. But I put a big Buckeye symbol on my Instagram. I want to tell you about this. This is actually kind of funny. And I got hate because I put up the big Buckeye symbol and I said, yeah, I'm a Buckeye. That's where I got my doctorate. Go Buckeyes, right? And then people, of course, the Negro naysayers are always lurking in the corner to kind of come along and hate, right? So they came along and they said, oh, but you told Dion he had to go teach at a HBCU or he had to go work at a HBCU, but you didn't go no HBCU. You ain't got nothing to do. Also, Dion had to do HBCUs, but you don't have to do HBCUs. Well, so first of all, let me clear that up. Number one, I never said Dion had to do nothing. As far as I'm concerned, Dion's a grown ass man. He can do whatever he wants. I support him regardless. In fact, I think it's pretty typical for Black people to sell out their positions and go and work for white folks. I'm not saying that it's abnormal. It's very normal. A lot of Black people do it, but I'm also here to give you a harsh truth. The harsh truth is that the reason your institutions don't grow is because you don't invest in them. When Jackie Robinson left the Negro Leagues, everybody cheered for him and he made more money for him and his family. The Negro Leagues died. So remember that when Dr. Claude Anderson came in, he was just explaining to you that if you ever want to know why your institutions don't grow, why your wealth doesn't grow, it's because whenever you get a chance to grow something of your own, you walk away from that. So give me a guess in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say that Dion didn't have a right to do it. I'm not saying that Dion is the only one who would have done that. A lot of people would have done that. I'm not saying anything other than the obvious, which is that working hard for the University of Colorado does not build anything in the Black community. Let's just be clear about that. Do you understand what I'm saying? You ain't got to agree with me to get this. But working for the University of Colorado grows almost nothing in the Black community. It just doesn't. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying there's a lot of Black people who work for Colorado, just like there's a lot of Black people who work for Burger King. But if you're working for Burger King and you slaving for Burger King, does Burger King's legacy equal your legacy? Can you pass your Burger King franchise down to your child? Have you been, the manager, the night manager of Burger King for 40 years? No, you can't. You just can't. It's just a fact, right? But that's the first point I want to make on the Dion thing. I think it's important. And some people say, why are you kicking a dead horse? Well, because I don't see the Black community as a dead horse. I don't see Black wealth as a dead horse. I see it as a sleeping horse. So yes, I will kick the horse because the horse needs to wake the hell. I was about to use a cuss word, but it's the new year, so I'm going to try not to cuss today. But the horse needs to wake up. Okay, that's the first point. Second point is that when everybody was saying you should have been, you wouldn't at no HBCU, you're a hypocrite. I said, you know what? Absolutely. You're 100% correct in the sense that when I was younger, I didn't understand the things that I understand now. When I was younger, I thought just like you did. I thought that being attached to this other institution was going to make me better. And I did that. I went to Ohio State. I taught at the University of Kentucky. I taught at Syracuse University. I even taught at a school in China, right? So I've done those things. I taught at Indiana University too. And then over time, I realized, wait a minute, I'm pouring all this energy into these other institutions that are not owned by my people. I'm teaching the greatest, most cutting edge knowledge of finance. Literally, when you have a doctorate, you understand things on finance that are literally interplanetary. They're just on another level because you have to do that. To get a doctorate and a PhD in finance, you have to know finance from a deep core theoretical mathematical level that you'll never learn if you're like a stockbroker or an MBA or something like that, right? So I was teaching this stuff to mostly Asian kids, white kids, and Jewish kids. And they were taking this information and going out to Wall Street and making millions of dollars for their families, right? So I said, I really want to teach this to Black people, and I feel like I was told that you're a successful Black person because these white people hired you to do this job, but I said, am I really successful? And I realized that I wasn't actually as successful as I could have been. So I said, you know what? I'm actually going to take that next step. So I did actually, I couldn't get a job at an HBCU because I was too radical. A lot, when I went to interview at Howard University, I was interviewed by a Chinese man, and the Chinese man who ran the Howard University finance department at that time, I kid you not, they literally had a Chinese guy running their finance department. I thought it was the craziest thing in the world. But because I couldn't get past that gatekeeper, I said, let me just create something of my own. Let me create an HBCU myself. I call it an HBCU. It's called the Black Business School. Give me a yes in the chat if you've heard of the Black Business School. Give me a yes in the chat. Anybody heard of the Black Business School? Well, in the Black Business School, we have actually helped over 10 million of our people invest for the first time. In the Black Business School, we've helped over 10 million of our people buy real estate. We've helped them to buy shares of stock. We've helped them educate their children. We have a whole Black business school for children called Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. We just did a Black Wealth Boot Camp for kids that was extraordinary, where those kids now have a financial literacy level that matches the average college educated adult. Okay, so we're getting it done, y'all. We're doing this, and so when people say, "Well, you didn't pour nothing into HBCUs. What'd you do at HBCU?" I say, I've given millions and millions of dollars and millions of dollars worth of my time as well and my money to Black-owned institutions. Right? I have poured everything, my whole entire life, into educating the Black community for the last 12, 13 years. A lot of y'all seen it because I've done approximately 20,000 videos, literally 20,000 videos that you can watch right now on YouTube and other platforms that have gotten almost 1 billion views. And we've been doing it consistently every single day for about 13 years. So if anybody steps up and says, well, Dr. Boyce ain't doing nothing for HBCUs, he ain't doing, just tell them politely, just say, hey, the Black Business School is out there. You could try it for free. If you want to know more about what Dr. Watkins is doing, instead of sitting on the sideline, just kind of doing a yap fest kind of thing, just go to boycewatkins.com and he will embrace you with open arms and teach you just like he's taught so many millions of people. So that's how you respond to the haters, y'all. That's how you respond to the haters. And I ain't even mad at him. I ain't mad at him because I get it. I used to think the same way when I was 25. I thought that the white man's ice was colder. I thought that getting him to hire me was the best thing I could do. I thought that being up next to him was the best move. And I just don't agree. I just think that for prime time, I feel like prime time could have made $5 million a year in a lot of places. It's not that hard. I'm serious. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When you're famous and already kind of rich and rich people, it's not hard to make $5 million a year. I'd love to talk to Dion. I'd be like, bro, you could make $10 million a year on your own. Why do you need to be an employee to make $5 million a year? You could probably do that just with the Primetime brand, which has got to be worth $200 million now. Let's create some Primetime products. Let's have a Primetime clothing line. Let's create a Primetime educational academy. Let's create a Primetime shoe line. Like let's do some stuff with that Primetime brand so you can make 10, 20, 30, 40 million Master P type money without having to go be an employee. That was my point with Deion. It wasn't being mad at him. It was pushing him. It was encouraging him. It was believing in him. It's like the way your daddy or your mama push you. You thought your mama was being a hater when she said, son, you could do better than that. You thought your daddy was being a hater when he said, come on, sweetie, come on, let's try harder next time. He wasn't being a hater. He was just encouraging you because he saw your greatness. I digress. Thank you for allowing me to do that temporary diversion. I hope that's okay. If you could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. This is a perfect opportunity also for me to warn y'all that there are some fake Boyce Watkins accounts out there that will hit you up and ask you to inbox them. So do not respond to those people because they are definitely scammers and they will try to take your money. So that is not me sliding your DM. I do not slide into people's DMs. I don't do that. And so please make sure that you check into that or that you report those accounts when you see them. Second of all, could you please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And I also want to say thank you to pathwaysunited.org. Pathwaysunited.org can actually help you raise money if you are seeking to get government sponsorship in the areas related to anything related to the Department of Energy that they might fund. If you're looking to raise money, they can help you with your proposal. That's their URL, pathwaysunited.org. And if you're scientifically inclined and you'd like to get a grant fulfilled, they've got a ton of stuff in areas from cybersecurity, energy security, fossil energy, carbon management, defense and nuclear proliferation, fusion energy, electricity, high energy physics, nuclear energy, renewable energy, etc. So feel free to reach out to pathwaysunited.org if that is something that will help you. All right, so let's hop into Trump. I know that we didn't plan to talk just about the Deion thing, but I like to address all the things that are Black wealth related. And anybody who doesn't like that or doesn't agree with that, you're welcome to go to a white person's channel. I don't care. Just get on out of here if you don't like it. All right, so here's the thing. Let me ask y'all this. So here's what was revealed about Trump's taxes. Give me a yes or no if you saw what was going on with Trump and his taxes being released. Give me a yes or no if you follow that. And there were some people that were very upset that Trump that Trump didn't pay as much in taxes as he should have. And I'm going to give you sort of the quick overview. It's pretty hilarious, actually. Donald Trump actually paid little to no taxes in 3 of the 6 years covered by the documents that were released. He paid 0 taxes in 2020. 750 in taxes in 2016 and 2017, which is crazy. Now, he did pay bigger amounts in 2015 and 2018 and 2019. In 2015, he paid $641,931. 2018, he paid $999,000. 2019, he paid $133,000. Now, let me ask you all this. Let's start with 2020. He paid 0 taxes in 2020. So give me a yes or no. How many of you paid an amount greater than 0 in your tax bill in 2020? Give me a yes in the chat if you paid more than $0 in taxes in 2020. If you paid like 25 cents or higher in taxes in 2020, give me a yes in the chat. Give me a yes in the chat if you pay more than $0 in taxes. And I think this is important because this is fascinating. This man is allegedly a billionaire. I don't know what Trump's net worth is. He claims that his let me see, what's Trump's net worth? They claim that his net worth on this first site that comes up on Google is $3.2 billion. And let me just tell you, look, I'm going to tell you like this. If you are in that category of people who think that Trump should have paid more in taxes and you're upset about it, I join you in that clique. I'm 100% in agreement with you. I believe that the inability to tax millionaires and billionaires appropriately in this country is going to lead to the decline of this country. Remember, I'm a finance guy, so I look at the numbers. And when you look at the level of debt, that if you look, there's a debt clock that the United States has. Let me see, debtclock.org. I think it's called debtclock.org. And the U.S. debt is insanely high right now. And in fact, right now, the U.S. debt, national debt, has risen to $31,459,778,000. Sorry, that's 400,000. Sorry, 450, 500,000. It's literally going up by about $10,000 a second on this chart I'm looking at. And if you want to know what the debt per citizen is, it's $94,128. The debt per taxpayer owed in this country is almost $250,000, $246,866. U.S. federal spending per year is $5,987,357,373,000 a year, and the U.S. deficit is pretty massive. Tax revenue per year is about $4,674,322. See, I can't even say it right. So $4,674,321,297,000 per year. That's the total tax revenue. And what's interesting here is as I'm looking at the debt clock, the numbers are actually going down for revenue per second. I kid you not. Like literally, when I started this conversation, total revenue was $4,674,321,290,000. Now it's dropped to 275, 274, 273, 272, 270, 269. It's literally dropping. This is very interesting, right? This is really interesting. So what's happening on this debt clock, which is a real live portrayal of where U.S. debt lies. I'm actually shared this. It's debtclock.us or debtclock.org or something like that. I'm going to show you all this chart. It's interesting to look at. What I want to point your attention to is I want you to try to notice. Let me see if I can make it big on this screen here so y'all can really see it. I want you to notice how the spending over here is going up by the second. The debt is going up by the second. Look at how fast that debt is moving. Like literally in the amount of time that we've made this podcast, the U.S. government will be about $2 million more in debt than it was when we started the podcast. Give me a yes or no if you understand the gravity of what I'm telling you right now. We'll be $2 million more in debt by the time I finish this podcast than we were when we started. In fact, it might be 3 or 4 million, to be honest with you. So the debt's going up, the spending is going up, the revenue is going down. Over here, this number is dropping. And I'm like, whoa. How many of you feel like you'd be in a good financial situation if your debt was going up and your spending was going up, but your revenue was going down? How many of you would feel like that was a good financial situation to be in? And why do I point this out? I point this out because the reason that the United States is having that problem is because they don't tax its billionaires. They don't tax its businesses. They don't tax its investors very well. You know, the biggest thing I want you to understand is, anybody ever heard that saying where they say, "Don't hate the player, hate the game"? Anybody ever heard that? Give me a yes or no if you've heard people say stuff like that and you agree with that statement. Don't hate the player, hate the game. So a lot of y'all don't hate the player. You don't hate Trump for not paying taxes. A lot of you are saying, "Wait, how did he do that?" And I'm going to get to that in a second, I promise. But but then I say it like this: don't hate the player or hate the game. Like, why? Hate is just not a good energy. In fact, the haters that are in the chat, just don't waste your time. Just don't hate on me. Like, it ain't gonna make no difference. I ain't gonna change what I do because of you. So spend your energy doing something else. Instead of hating something, love something. When I was on the phone call. I kid you not. This was an interesting phone call. I got a call one morning from Kanye West where he texted me and said it was right after the death of the rapper Takeoff. And he had a brilliant idea of wanting to do this massive peace summit and basically use this death of Takeoff from the Migos as an opportunity to really unify Black people around some productive causes. So on the phone, it was me and Kanye and Noriega from the Drink Champs. And he was also texting Diddy and Russell Simmons at the same time. And we were throwing around ideas. And y'all know me. My agenda is just pro-Black. So I said, how about we use this as an opportunity to unify Black people around the fact that we need to take on this toxicity in hip hop, and we need to take on these record labels that are promoting death culture to Black people, making billions of dollars. They're making money. This is a financial conversation. They're making billions of dollars a year by getting your young men to kill each other, get on drugs, disrespect women, and throw their lives away and spend time in the penitentiary. That's not a good trade for Black people. And so we're talking, and in the middle of the conversation, I kid you not, this is a true story. And y'all know me. I got to be honest with y'all in terms of the thoughts that go through my brain. God gives me these streams of consciousness, and I'm not going to deny God. And especially on a Sunday. And so Ye starts talking about, first he's agreeing, and we're talking and we're vibing, and then he starts talking about Jewish people. And he says, yeah, we could do something at Morehouse College. They have a stadium, but they're connected to Jewish people. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, all right, fine. Where do you want to do it? And he's like, yeah. And then he starts instead of talking about the topic, he starts talking about Jewish people more and more and more. And I'm like, I don't really care about Jewish people right now. Why are we're powerful black men on this phone. Like, you're one of the greatest artists of all time. We all have big platforms. Diddy and Russell are on the other line. I think I'm a pretty smart dude. We're powerful black men right now. Why are we wasting our energy hating on what somebody else is doing? I said, I get it. If you have an issue with Jewish people, that's between you and them. I don't care. I'm not paying attention to that. I said, but I love black people. And love is a more powerful energy than hate. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. You can't stop love. You can't stop a man. If a man really loves his woman, you can't stop that man from getting to that woman. That's why, ladies, if he ever tells you, like, I don't have time to talk to you because I'm too busy, that's not true. He don't really love you like that. Because if he really loves you and he's an ambitious man, he gonna make time for you. Give me a yes in the chat. A mother who loves her child is going to literally lift a mountain to get to her child. Am I lying or am I telling the truth? Yes or no? Give me a yes or no if you understand. This is Sunday, so I probably sound like I'm preaching, but that's okay because God wants me to do this today. So love is always more powerful than hate. Love is an energy that gives you strength. Hate makes you weak and small. It does. You think it gives you strength, but it actually you're using toxic energy. You're running on toxic fumes, so eventually it's going to destroy you. Right? Love is something that just can't be stopped. If you get a bunch of teenagers together and they all get attracted to each other and the energy of love takes over, you can't stop those teenagers from getting together and making babies and breaking rules and doing whatever they got to do. So my point is to say that, so what I said to Ye was, I said, don't tell me about what you hate. Tell me about what you love. Let's talk about what we love. Let's build on love. And so I say this to you, when you're talking about this thing with Trump, they say don't hate the player, hate the game. I say don't hate nothing. Love yourself. I'm not saying love the player. I'm not saying love the game. I'm saying love yourself. I'm saying love your community. Love the knowledge that you can obtain by figuring out how the hell this man, this billionaire, was able to go 5 years paying less taxes than a lot of homeless people. That's what I love. I'm like, man, I want the knowledge. How did he do this? This is impressive. Whoa. And the crazy thing was, I remember when Trump talked about that and they were like, you didn't pay any taxes. You didn't pay any taxes. You're a bad person. He was like, I'm admitting that I took advantage of the system because we need to take down the system. Now, this is not me telling you to go vote for Trump. No, let's not get it twisted because the man's a little weird. But it is me kind of saying that it's the system, y'all. That's what I'm saying to you. It is the system. And so really, and here's the other thing too that's interesting, is this is bipartisan. This ain't just Republicans taking advantage of the system. This ain't just Democrats taking advantage of the system. This is all the elites. There are apolitical people who are wealthy who are taking advantage of this system. So I'm just telling you that if you are a believer that the system's always supposed to be fair and you're mad because it's not fair, well, then join the damn club. We know this damn thing ain't fair. I just want to help you rig it in your favor. So when you're talking about this, I mean, you think the Pelosi's are paying big tax bills? The Pelosi's, does anybody know how much money Nancy Pelosi's worth? Guess. Nancy Pelosi, her net worth, I'm going to Google it. Her family net worth is $135 million. $135 million. And every single time there's an opportunity to vote to increase taxes for people like her, she does not want to do it. Every time there's an opportunity to vote to disallow people like her from trading stocks based on the information they're getting through these congressional bills that they're passing, which gives them a huge inside information advantage, she votes against that. Every time there's an opportunity for her to reveal more about her financial situation, she rejects that. So this is not just Trump, y'all. That's what I'm saying. This is not just a Donald Trump thing. This is just a rich people thing. This is just an elite, wealthy people thing. And so what I'm going to say to you, what I want to do is kind of give you a couple thoughts on ways you might be able to benefit from this knowledge or reduce your own tax bill, or a way to kind of look at taxes. I'm not a tax expert. I'm not pretending to be. I have tax specialists I talk to on a regular basis because I'm a rich guy who also tries to minimize his tax bill, that just to be quite frank with you. And I encourage you to really think about this sort of stuff as you're talking to these things about your kids. Your kids, this is the time is now for you to start talking about your kids, how they can position themselves so that the IRS doesn't just suck out all their money like a vacuum cleaner. Okay, so do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, make sure you subscribe. I want to remind everybody, number one, you can get this podcast on Spotify. If you haven't downloaded it, you can go to look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown on Spotify or Apple, and you can find my podcast on Spotify. Secondly, if you want to take a look, we have some really great financial flashcards for kids. We have flashcards on money. We have flashcards on investing. We also have flashcards on real estate. So if you want your child to understand terms in real estate and you want to go ahead and get them started early, which I think is a great idea, you can feel free to go to financialflashcards.com. And then also we have flashcards on credit. That's credit scores, credit cards, just anything related to credit and financing, which is a hugely important part of the economy. We have flashcards on that too. So feel free to go take a look at financialflashcards.com if that is of interest to you. All right. So one thing I will say to you is that if you want to reduce your tax bill, I remember when I was working at Syracuse University and I was making six figures and stuff, and I was happy about that. And a lot of girls thought I was cute because I had more money and everything. But I remember when I was told by my dad that if you want to have more tax write-offs, buy a house, right? So you can write off the interest and stuff like that. And then there are other tax write-offs that regular consumers can use. I'm not an expert on taxation, but I can kind of give you some basics. And what I actually found was when I started a business, there's almost no tax write-offs I can think of for an individual person working every day that come close to the write-offs you can get in business. In fact, in my new book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, which is on Amazon, one of the things that I talk extensively about is the massive amount of economic value that's being flushed out every year from the fact that Black people and Black families aren't thinking about starting businesses with each other at an early age. If you want to flip up Black wealth by a couple $1 trillion in one generation, just make it a huge part of our culture to create businesses around our family, because you don't understand, your family is $1 million family. You have over $1 million or more, really probably several million for some of you, in terms of human capital in your family. This is not a this is not a feel-good statement. This is not me making things up. This is not symbolism. This is true economic theory. Pay attention now. Are you listening? Give me a yes if you're hearing what I'm saying. Remember, during slavery, you were worth tremendous amounts of money to the slave master. They could get insurance policies on your life. They were able to use your existence as collateral to get loans, to make investments. They were able to generate significant amounts of revenue from your mere existence and the fact that you had labor and skill, right? So if they were able to make so much money off of you, well, then why can't you make money off of you? If they were able to see the wealth in you, why don't you see the wealth in you? Now, remember, corporations also are able to make millions of dollars off of you. Kevin Hicks and Beatrice Mitchell, if you work for the white man, and no disrespect to the white man or the Asian man or any other man, anybody you work for is going to extract millions of dollars in revenue from your labor. That's just the fact. That's how capitalism works. So my point is to say, not to say that if you work for other people, you're a sucker. I'm not saying that at all. I've worked for lots of people. I still work for people to this day. Sometimes I'll do something. I'll do a job. I'll do a lot of jobs for free. I work for Push Black, and I do a podcast for Push Black, and I do it. I don't get paid. I don't get paid a nickel from Push Black because I want to be associated with what they're doing, because I think that the company is so extraordinary, right? So everybody works for somebody. Everybody gets that chance to be the worker sometimes, and then everybody sometimes, if you're smart, you'll get a chance to be the boss. That's why I want you to train your kids to also be the boss. But what I really need you to understand is that there's millions of dollars in wealth right there in your family just from your labor, your skill. A lot of y'all going to go to college. You got children going to college. When you go to college and you get that skill, you're worth a lot more money because of that. So the ability to see that wealth, the sooner you see how important you are, the sooner you see how valuable you are, the sooner you see how much economic potential you have, the sooner you will tap into that and be able to pull that money into your family. The money will not go out the window, just like the air from the air conditioner when the window's open. You'll shut the damn window and keep the air inside the room. Do you understand what I'm saying? Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. So ultimately, becoming an investor at an early age is massively valuable, not just because of the wealth creation capability, but also because of the limited tax liability. Like you can literally, if you train your siblings or your kids and all their siblings at an early age to realize, hey, y'all, if you start businesses together, every time you have a family reunion, that's a tax write-off. What? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying engage in any form of tax evasion. I'm talking about tax avoidance, which is very different from tax evasion. Tax evasion makes you like Sam Bankman-Fried. No, tax avoidance makes you, I'm not even gonna say like Donald Trump, because Donald Trump kind of teeters on that line between legal and criminal. It makes you smarter than Trump. It puts you in a position where you as a family then have the ability to go on discounted vacations for the rest of your life. Like you can say, hey, y'all, let's all go meet in Puerto Rico and have some business meetings and work on our business. And then you got documentation. You're really doing it. It's not like you're pretending. It's not like you're saying, gosh, I'm going to sneak and go to Puerto Rico and pretend like I'm running a business. No, you're not doing that. You and your sister really do have an LLC, and you really were in Puerto Rico. You're taking pictures. You got documentation where you're sitting there taking notes with each other and writing down your game plan, planning out your new year and how you're going to make, how you're going to go from 5 million a year to 8 million a year. I mean, think about that. Imagine that. And imagine getting paid for that. There are tax incentives for that. And then you take that amount that you spent on the trip or whatever, and you go to your account and make sure everything's legal and good. And then they start chopping off your tax bill because you and your sister decided to go to Puerto Rico and hang out, or Costa Rica, or Guam or something. I don't know, Italy, wherever the hell you want to, Nigeria, like wherever y'all want to hang out at, like that's available. Do you understand? And what I'm saying is that if you get too caught up in the politics of Trump and the arrogance of Trump, you're going to miss the areas in which the Trumps are kind of winning a little bit. If I look up the net worth of every single one of Donald Trump's kids, you're talking about a number of between $50 and $100 million for every child. Now, again, you can hate the player, or you can hate the game, or you can stop being a hater and go get in the game and figure out how to win. Everybody type the word win in the chat. I want you to be a winner. I don't want you to be a hater. You ain't got to sit around hating nothing. Don't get mad at somebody because they're doing what's best for their family. I don't believe in that. I'm sorry. I know some of y'all get caught up in the Democrat. Well, Trump is a bad person and Biden is a man. Whatever. Shut up. Sorry, no disrespect. I don't hate you. I didn't mean to tell you to shut up. I'm serious. Like I've heard those conversations for 30-something years, and let me just tell you this. People got mad at me, but I shared it on Instagram. I said it was like the Roland Martin crying picture, the picture of him crying when he saw all these black people voting. And I said, yeah, that's really nice, and I get it, but it's like you're crying because you vote in every election, you march, you're always marching at a rally, you're praying, you've been praying to white Jesus for 400 years, and white people still have all the wealth. You've been marching, voting, and praying your black ass off, and white people still own everything. So that clearly means that whatever strategy you have, at this point, it's not enough. It does not mean there's anything wrong with marching. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with voting. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with praying. I'm not gonna get between you and your Jesus. Lord knows that that's not. My mama taught me that ain't something you do unless you want to get your face kicked in. But what I am saying is that your strategy is not enough. Do we at least agree on that? That we have to do more. That we got to try something else. It's got to be both and. It can't be either or. All right. So that's my thought. A couple quick thoughts on tax deductions is that if you are an investor, you can write things off that you can't write off. Otherwise, if you have LLCs and you are a business owner, you can write things off. Also, there's some other little thoughts that came to mind. There are tax advantage accounts out there like health savings plans, 529 plans, things like that can reduce your tax bill. You can claim various tax credits like earned income credits child tax credits, education tax credits. You can take advantage of various tax deductions that might include student loan interest, medical expenses, etc. Also, contributions to things like 401ks and IRAs are important tax vehicles as well. But I don't think anything really comes close to having an LLC. Just make sure it's real, make sure you're really using it, and make sure that you are actually trying to do business. Don't be out here trying to play games and be sneaky, because I don't think that works out for you. Okay. All right, guys. So that's my 2 cents. My wife and I are about to go running today because health is wealth, and I got to make sure I stay healthy. We're hanging out. We actually saw Michael Roberts last night. Michael Roberts is a Black billionaire who's a really great guy, very pro-Black, and I have a lot of respect for him. So I'm going to go out here and get some exercise in. Just a reminder, I want to say thank you to pathwaysunited.org for sponsoring the podcast. If you'd like to get funding for any grant related to something that the Department of Energy might fund, just reach out to pathwaysunited.org. They will take good care of you. Also, last but not least, don't forget that my new book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, is available. You can buy a copy on Amazon, or you can go to drboycebooks.com, either one. And this book is it's doing really well. The reviews have been great. So I'm really happy you guys like it. I think 4.9 out of 5 stars or something like that is what I saw last time. So if you do buy a copy, if you could take a moment and please leave a review so others can know how they can benefit from this book. This book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, was written to be a definitive guide on simple rules, almost like how Biggie had the 10 crack commandments and everybody learned how to sell crack. Well, I don't want to teach you how to sell crack. I want to teach you how to get paid. I want to teach you how to be successful. I want to teach you how to be healthy. I want to teach you how to be happy. I want to teach you how to be rich. So ultimately, this is the 10 crack commandments, except it's like not crack. It's actually the 10 black commandments. How about that? So long story short, I think you're going to like this book. I spent a lot of time thinking about it. And what I did was I took all this financial theory that's been shoved in my brain over the last 30 years and really condensed it to 10 simple rules that I believe any family or any group, any collective can follow, that will put you in a position where you have a very high probability of having wealth and power within, a decade or so. Like it doesn't even take a whole generation, really a decade or so. So feel free to go take a look. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I'm going to do a tour in the spring. I'm going to go to about 6 major cities. I'm not going to go to every single city. We don't have time to go to every single city, but I'll let you guys know what cities we're going to go to if you want to do an in-depth training on each part of that book. And also, if you go to boycewatkins.com, there's a free training on how to start a family investment club if you want to do that in conjunction with the training you're doing in the book. So anyway, guys, that's it. God bless you. Love you. Thank you all for listening. And hit the thumbs up button on your way out. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care now. Peace.